Nosotros No by Jose Bernardo Adolf. I will now read through the story, following along with my cursor, providing you kind of an on-the-fly oral interpretation into English. Pay attention and enjoy. That afternoon, remember, Achaia is just like Asa, but farther away, when the little bells chimed on all the telegrams, and the news was shared like a miracle, the men of all latitudes joined their voices in one unified shout of triumph. Just as had been predicted 200 years before, finally, mankind had conquered immortality in 2168. All the loudspeakers of the world, all the transmitters of images, all of the bulletins highlighted this great biological revolution. I also was glad, naturally, at first. How much we had waited for this day. Just one injection of 100 cubic centimeters was all that was needed, or was lacking, making lack, in order not to ever die. Just one injection applied every 100 years would guarantee that no human body would ever decompose. From that day, only an accident would be able to end or to finish a human life. Goodbye to sickness. Goodbye to senility or losing one's mind. Goodbye to death by organic failure. Just one injection every 100 years. Until the second bit of news came, complementary of the first. The injection would only take effect among those younger than 20 years of age. No human being who had gone past that age of growth would be able to detain or to halt his internal decomposition on time. Only the young would be immortal. The federal government was preparing already to organize the shipment, the sharing out and the application of the dosage to all children and adolescents of the planet, of the Earth. And the medicine compartments of the rocket ships would carry the little vials to the farthest Earth colonies or terrestrial colonies of outer space. They would all be immortal, except for us, the old, the formed, in whose organism the seed of death was already definitively implanted. All of the young would live forever, would survive forever. They would be immortals, and, in fact, animals of a different species. No longer human beings. Their psychology, their vision, their perspective were radically different from ours. They would be immortal, owners of the universe forever, free, fertile, gods. But us? No. We, the men and women of more than 20 years, we were the last mortal generation. We were the goodbye, the farewell, yes, the goodbye, the handkerchief of flesh and blood, or of bones and blood, which was waving for the final time over the face of the earth. Us? No. Marginalized or shunned right away, as the final grandparents. Soon we had become inhabitants of an asylum for old folks. Frightened, confused rabbits living amongst a race of titans. These young people, quietly, were beginning to be our executioners without even setting out to be so. We were no longer their parents. From that day on, we were a different thing, a repulsive and sick thing, illogical and monstrous. We were those that would die. Those who were waiting for death. They would shed tears, hiding their scorn, mixing it with their joy, with that ingenuine joy with which they expressed their certainty that now, yes, now, everything would have to go well. But we were only waiting. We would see them grow up, become beautiful, continue young, and prepare themselves for that second injection, a ceremony, one that we would no longer be able to see, whose religious character would become evident. They would no longer ever meet up with God. the final shipment or the final load of souls headed for the great beyond, well, that was ours. Now, how much it would cost us to leave the planet. Oh, how it would go just gnawing away at our bones, this envy, this painful envy. How much of a yearning of murder would fill our souls from now until the day of our death. Until yesterday, when the first 15-year-old boy, with his injection already in his organism, decided to kill himself. When that news arrived, we, the mortals, we began anew or recently to love and to understand the immortals. Because they are just some poor tadpoles condemned to a perpetual prison in the green, nasty pond of life. Perpetual, eternal. And we began to suspect that within 99 years, the day of the second injection, the police will go out to look for thousands of immortals in order to impose it upon them. And the third injection, and the fourth, and the 5th century, and the 6th. Each time fewer volunteers, each time more eternal children who were begging for evasion, the end, the rescue. The hunting will be horrendous. They will be perpetually miserable. But not us.